Hello, everyone. Thank you. Wow, these slides didn't translate very well from Google Docs. That's going to be interesting. All right, yeah, I'm here to talk about some of the secret tech behind massive social movements. At Ushahidi, we do work in crowdsourcing, and so we are aware of a lot of social movements. Of course, we just produce open source software and other products, but we're aware of these things, from everything from Arab Spring to Snowmageddon and everything in between. The thing that's different about crowdsourcing is that every single social movement has different requirements. If we're talking about human rights, there's an element of everything being very visual. It's talking about news media, but we want to protect the privacy of the people that are affected. Or if we're talking about government corruption, it's the same sort of situation. We want to protect the privacy of people, and we want to be able to, store the document safely. We need to be able to verify things, and that's very important. If we're talking about disaster response, geolocation is obviously extremely important. We need to know where people are, what their needs are, and how important their needs are. It also needs to work in low bandwidth or no bandwidth environments because infrastructure is very often highly damaged. In the case of environmental conservation, it's a totally different situation. Often it's scientists talking to other scientists. It's very like peer-to-peer, but they're dealing with very, very technical data. And then there's also people on the ground that are affected that need to be able to send in their response. In the case of municipal service monitoring, people need to be able to input their information quickly. They need to document it, take a photo of it, but there's a two-way communication system. They want to know when things get solved. So what really empowers change? Well, we know that change doesn't happen in a vacuum, and it requires a very clear communication of a pretty narrow set of goals. It's not about rock stars or big budgets, fancy advertising. It's about ideas and people, connecting them with tools. But there's a problem with this, of course, in that in crowdsourcing, often the users of the system are not the people deploying it. And the people who are deploying it very often don't have the ability to work at it on a programming level. But, we can install WordPress with a couple of clicks. So why does it have to be so hard to deploy a good crowdsourcing platform? There must be something that good tools have in common. Well, we think we've identified 5 of them. The first is that a good system has to be highly installable. We have to be able to explain what happens up front and then install the system quickly. And if something goes wrong, we have to help solve that installation problem, both with documentation and the tool itself. Second thing is it has to be understandable. A good system is intuitive. It's really, really important that it's intuitive. Effective design and good user experience contribute to that. We also can't forget about localization, internationalization, globalization. My date formats are totally different than somebody else's date formats. Systems have to be accessible, too. They have to allow input from a lot of different sources. We have to be inclusive of those that are disabled. And we have to take the security and privacy of everyone very seriously. Systems have to be customizable, too. As we saw, there's very, very different inputs and different kinds of data storage happening with different types of crowdsourcing. And sometimes it's serious and sometimes it's silly. But they also have to be analyzable too, right? Like, everybody loves pretty graphs, but pretty graphs have to mean something. And good tools will help you identify those correlations. They'll be able to give you insight. So what technology trends do we see that are really helping people realize these goals of building systems that are installable, understandable, accessible, customizable, and analyzable? Well, we've identified 3 particular trends that are really important. The first is mobile-first design. I bet pretty much everyone here has a mobile device in their pocket. So we know that mobile-first design is pretty simple. It translates well to desktop, but desktop doesn't always translate to mobile. The second is APIs, particularly REST APIs. Because REST APIs are almost a design pattern now, right? We're talking about an input format of JSON and getting JSON back out. The platform just becomes a black box of storage at that point. It's all about data. And the third trend that we see that's really helping this is single-page apps. They bring the other 2 concepts together. They show us that you can build a system that's responsive, fast, and works in low bandwidth or no bandwidth environments with local storage. So Ushahidi platform is just one of many tools, but we want you to go and build good tools and go start a movement. Thank you.